On a night that Raw was in Belfast, and Finn Bálor, after the show, called it the most memorable night of his career. Think of all the things that he has done in his career, going back to his days in Japan, on the NXT brand, and everything else that he's done over all these many years. He said that tonight in Belfast, back home, was the most memorable night of his career so far. He put that little caveat in there. He said, so far. And then he got to lead the crowd after the show in a happy birthday chant for his mom, who just celebrated her birthday. She was in the crowd tonight. He said it was the first time in almost 15 years that he has been home to be able to celebrate his mother's birthday with her. So this was a very special night here for Finn Bálor, who also got to challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship in the main event against CM Punk. And CM Punk was not the most beloved in the building tonight. Finn Bálor was. It made for a very fun atmosphere in their match. What was an excellent main event. This was a very good match. It went exactly the way that you would expect that it went. I will say, though, there was a moment. There was a near fall in this match where Balor actually got to hit the coup de grace, and I thought, man, I know it's not going to happen, but man, if they would give him this moment. He's been Finn Bálor for so long. It's been so many years since he held that Universal title for all of 24 hours. What a moment that would have been for him in Ireland, for him to win the World Heavyweight Championship, even if it was only for a week. I know it doesn't make any sense because they have a certain story they're telling right now with the Judgment Day, and it wouldn't really fit the creative. But there was that one near fall in that match where even the fans bid on it, and they thought, man, he might actually win the title. But it didn't happen. So I love the end of the show tonight. And also, and I told you this would happen, with Cody Rhodes, and I wondered if this is what they were waiting for. They were waiting for Cody to sort of throw the gates open. After Cody Rhodes declared himself for the Royal Rumble on Friday, because we had not heard anybody talk about the Royal Rumble, and we were 2 weeks away. No one had declared, no one was really even talking about it. I said, like, they have done a better job of promoting WrestleMania 42 in Las Vegas with all these commercials than they have promoting the Royal Rumble, which is coming up in a couple of weeks. So on SmackDown on Friday, we had Cody Rhodes finally declare for the Rumble. And so tonight, with that out of the way, we had a whole bunch of other people do the same thing. Finally, we had Gunther, we had Jey Uso, Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Roxanne Perez. They have all declared for their respective Royal Rumble matches. So now things are starting to really fill out as far as the PLE goes. But despite Gunther declaring for the Rumble, he will be pulling double duty on that show, because what we also found out tonight is that they are in fact waiting until the Rumble to do the rematch. Because I was wondering, okay, when do they do it? Do they do it on Saturday night's main event, where it feels like we have one slot left open for a match on that show? That's coming up next weekend. Or do they hold off and do it at the Rumble? Or would it not be better to have them in the Rumble and then maybe have AJ eliminate him and kind of further their story? Well, now we have our answer. They are doing the rematch between AJ Styles and Gunther at the Royal Rumble, but with a very special caveat. They have raised the stakes in a major way for this match, where AJ Styles is going to be putting his career on the line in Riyadh against Gunther. And I've got some things to say about that, because that was sort of the stipulation I think that I've been talking about and pitching, but to do it at the Rumble is not something that I was expecting. We also had on this show what thankfully ended up only being an injury scare, with Javon Evans, who had a match on this show that got cut short due to fear of an injury. I'll have an update on that here in a little bit. And we had a heel turn. Now, it wasn't taken as some sort of monumental heel turn. This was not the John Cena heel turn, or what we thought the John Cena heel turn was going to be last year. But Natalya has turned on Maxxine Dupri, which is great. This is a great thing because it removes Maxxine now from the orbit of Becky Lynch, and it gives Maxxine another veteran not named Becky to go work with now for a while, because I think we're all tapped out on Becky Lynch against Maxxine Dupri. So now Maxxine gets to go ahead and work with Natty, who's a veteran, and it's going to be a great person for her to work with. But, you know, why Natty? Why? Why Natty? Why? That was the story coming out of tonight. I thought the Belfast crowd, it did its part to make this a fun show. They were loud. They were into it. Not so much, I don't want to pick on Germany, but, compare the crowd that we had last week to the crowd that we had in Belfast tonight. Belfast wins. These people were into the show. We finally got some real, actual progression towards the Royal Rumble. I'm digging the story with Adam Pearce and the Vision. I've got a bunch of segments to go over here as far as that goes. Braun Breaker did not appear on the show. He is suspended, and he stayed suspended. He stayed at home. But they have progressed the story with Pearce and Paul Heyman and the Vision, so I like that. And again, we got a really good main event to top it all off at the end of the show. The rest of the show I thought was solid. I also want to say, I want to send best wishes to WWE referee Daphne LaShawn. She and her husband, former NXT star Leon Ruff, they were involved in a bad car accident yesterday where they got rear-ended by another driver, and the car was totaled. He says he's okay. His wife, not so much. She's in a lot of pain. She's pretty banged up. It sounds like neither of them were seriously injured, but that's a scary thing. And he posted a picture on social media of what the car looked like, so she'll probably be out for a little bit of time, but hopefully she will heal quickly. It's nothing too serious, but that is a very scary situation. So the best to the two of them. This is your Raw on Netflix review. It is Monday night, January 19th, 2026. I am the Solomonster. And before we go any further, I do have to do one very important thing here, and that is I have to drop the confetti because, ladies and gentlemen, we have hit 90,000 subscribers.
Holy shit.
Here on the channel. Yes, indeed, 90K strong here on YouTube. I knew it was coming. I didn't know what day it was coming, but I knew it was coming, so thank you guys very much. I appreciate that. And onward we go. We're just going to keep growing here. We're going to keep growing. We're going to keep climbing that ladder. It's all we can do. But I had to bust out the confetti. You know, we only saved the confetti for special occasions. So tonight's a special occasion. So there you go. Like and subscribe if you are not already subscribed. Super chats are open as well. So I'll be reading all of your messages here as they come in. Hang out a little bit later on. I know there's a big national championship game going on right now. This is not the best night to be talking about wrestling, but that's what I do. I don't talk football. I talk wrestling. So that's what we're going to do. For those of you who have checked out the newest installment of RSPW Rewind, I hope you enjoyed it. It is going to be going out publicly for everybody tomorrow. So keep your eyes peeled. Wooings! Yes. We're going to have some wooings tonight to celebrate 90K. But yes, RSPW Rewind will go live for everybody probably late morning tomorrow. So if you haven't had the chance yet to access it like all of our channel members, I hope you enjoy it. So keep your eye out for that tomorrow. All right, let's talk about this show here from the beginning because they kicked off. Thank you. Lots of very nice messages here. I appreciate all of you. That's right. We got some wooings. Hey, Peter Quinn. Welcome to the channel, Peter. So the show kicked off. We had a huge pyro display. We don't always get this at the beginning of Raw anymore, but they shot off a shitload of pyro to open the show. I don't know how many people were there. I'm sure it was somewhere in the 10 to 12,000 range. Gunther was out to open the show, fresh off his win over AJ Styles in Germany last week, and he was roundly booed as he made his way out to the ring. He said that AJ was so focused on making him tap out that he totally forgot that he was in the ring with the greatest professional wrestler in the entire company, the man that put Bill Goldberg to sleep, and the man that made John Cena tap out. So he said that his future looks very, very bright, and his future will lead him straight back to the World Heavyweight Championship. So therefore, he is here to officially declare for the Royal Rumble. He becomes the second person after Cody Rhodes to declare for the Royal Rumble. That brought out AJ Styles, who debuted in the Royal Rumble 10 years ago. It has been a decade of AJ Styles in WWE. And while he has had, lots of good moments and great moments in his career and even his time in WWE, I still feel like his first year is his best year. Go back and look at what he actually did in his first year in the company. He had that debut in the Royal Rumble, right? People went crazy for that. He had back-to-back pay-per-view main events for the title against Roman Reigns. Didn't win either one of them, but wrestling Roman Reigns in the main event for the World Championship. That year was the year where he started his series of matches with John Cena. And then the very next month, he wins the WWE Championship. That's a pretty impressive year for a guy who came over from the competition. I mean, WWE was not as friendly with TNA at that time as they are right now. And so I look back and I go, man, 10 years in this company. And honestly, find me another year from start to finish that you would consider better, top to bottom, than the first year he had in this company. I still think 2016 was his best. But AJ says he knows that Gunther wants to move on. He doesn't. And the two of them are going to have a rematch. He says Royal Rumble. So Gunther told him he's going to win the Royal Rumble and he doesn't plan on pulling double duty that night. So his answer is no. And he goes to leave and Styles tells him, sounds like you're scared. So the fans start chanting, "You tapped out," at Gunther. Styles said that Gunther's hand was raised, but he didn't beat him. Told Gunther that he tapped out like a little bitch. And if Gunther is scared, just say so. And they can both move on. Gunther said last week he proved that he's a smarter and better wrestler than AJ. He has no incentive to wrestle him again, so his answer remains no. He went to go leave. And he stops himself. He gets back into the ring. And he tells AJ, there might be something that you can do. And Styles tells him, name it. And Gunther tells him, if you want a rematch with me at the Royal Rumble, I want you to put your career on the line. And Styles looked very shook by this proposition. Gunther told him, think about it. Think about whether or not that's a hill that you want to die on, but you got to give me an answer before the night is over. Unless, of course, you're a little bit scared. So I thought that was a great hook for people to stay tuned in for the rest of the show. You want to tune in and find out what AJ's answer is going to be. You had to know what his answer was going to be. He was the one who wanted the rematch, right? He would look like a bitch if he came back and said, on second thought, you know what? I can't accept that, right? So you kind of knew, but still. It was a good hook, I thought. I wish they would not have Michael Cole on commentary reminding us about the fact that AJ has said before that 2026 is going to be his final year in the ring. I guess the genie is out of the bottle, though. People already know. Can't put the genie back in. And look, I like Gunther forcing AJ to put his career on the line because this is the idea that I've been pitching and talking about now for the last several weeks. And I said, it cannot be a situation when AJ finally has his last match, whenever that is, and we don't know when it's going to be, right? It could be this month, or it could be at the end of the year. We don't know. But I don't want it to be a situation like Goldberg and Cena where it's like, okay, we just sort of accept tonight's the night, right? We know tonight's his last match. It's just a matter of who is it going to be against, and does he go out on his back, or does he go out a winner? And typically in WWE, in this kind of situation, you go out a loser. I want there to be some real intrigue. I want there to be some real drama around whether or not AJ's this the night, right? That AJ Styles' career comes to an end. I don't want to be told in advance, right? You've got to do more than that. You got to do more than that. And so what this does is, and I don't know that this is going to be the case with every match AJ has going forward, but at least in this case now, holy shit, this could be the last match of AJ Styles' career, right? He's putting his career on the line against the man who only last month beat John Cena, somebody who I don't think should be beaten for a very long time. But here we are now. We have a little bit of a pickle here that we've now gotten ourselves into because there's just no way that AJ Styles can wrap up his career in Saudi Arabia this early in the year. It's only January. Like, it's their first PLE of the year. There's no way. So if it comes down to, well, somebody has to win and somebody has to lose, AJ Styles ought to win this match. Now, there are other ways to do it. AJ could win by countout. He could win by disqualification. He doesn't have to pin Gunther. He doesn't have to tap him out like a bitch, right? He could. There's multiple ways that AJ could win. This is not, so far anyway, this is not being billed as some sort of, no disqualification match here. But again, when I initially started pitching the stipulation, I had it with an eye towards WrestleMania. I didn't have it with an eye towards the Royal Rumble. Now, there was a segment later in the show where Adam Pearce, I'm just going to lump all the AJ stuff together here. So in the segment later on, there were two of them. AJ met with Adam Pearce, who tried to talk him out of it and say, look, you don't have to stoop to this guy's level. You don't have to play his game. You could say no. And AJ said, you know what? I think I need to go talk with my wife. And Pearce told him, you know what? I think that would be a good idea. So then there was a follow-up segment later on in the show where he said that he had a conversation with his wife. It was the shortest conversation they've ever had. And he has never heard his wife in 25 years of marriage cuss in the way that she cussed here in this conversation. And basically his wife's message to him was, go kick his ass. So his answer is yes. He wants the match. And Pearce told him, look, are you sure? Because there's no coming back from this. And AJ said he was sure. And so he said, well, then consider it official. At the Royal Rumble, it will be AJ Styles one-on-one with Gunther. And the match has been made. Now, I assume that Gunther is still pulling double duty because he talked about not wanting to pull double duty, implying that if he wrestled the match, he would also be in the Rumble. So I'm assuming he'll be in the Rumble as well. But again, I find it impossible to believe that this is going to be it for AJ Styles. And since they're doing this stipulation super early like this, AJ's got to win. I don't care how he wins. It doesn't matter to me how he wins. He could pin him. He can make him submit. He could win by countout. He could win by DQ. It don't matter to me. This is not a match that AJ Styles should be losing. Now, if AJ went in there and beat him clean, like pinned him or made him submit or something, it's like, well, now you've squandered everything that you had with Gunther. Unless the idea is that Gunther comes right back later in the night and wins the Royal Rumble. Now, I still feel like it's not his year. It feels unlikely to me that he's going to win, but I'm just saying, if you were to beat him straight up in a match with AJ on that show, he gets his heat back instantly if he goes out there later in the night and wins the Rumble. He gets his heat right back. But however they go about doing it, this is not a match that AJ Styles should be losing. I don't know what his plans are. Maybe he feels like, you know what, this is it. I can't go anymore. I don't understand, like being this close to WrestleMania, I would be stunned if he wrestled his last match at the Rumble. WrestleMania, I could see. Like if he doesn't feel like he can get all the way to SummerSlam, you give him a big WrestleMania send-off. You give him what John Cena didn't. Even John Cena didn't get a WrestleMania send-off for his last match. But to do it in Riyadh, at the, in less than 2 weeks at the Rumble, seems just implausible to me. But at least now we know when that rematch is going to be taking place. I just don't see Gunther winning the Rumble. And then it's hard to imagine that he loses to AJ and then loses twice if he goes into the Rumble and doesn't win. That's what made me think, like, is that something that they would be considering here, which is where he wrestles and loses and then gets his heat back by winning the Rumble? And then if so, does he just wrestle CM Punk again like he did at SummerSlam? Or does he challenge for the other title and you move him over to SmackDown and he wrestles Drew McIntyre? I don't know. I just don't see any of that happening. There's a much better chance of Gunther and AJ at WrestleMania, Gunther and Brock Lesnar, like somebody, but not for a championship. I just don't see it. Speaking of champions, we had Ireland's own Becky Lynch home to defend the Intercontinental title against Maxxine Dupri. Now, before the match, Maxxine was in the back getting ready, and she was shocked and elated to see Natalya backstage. And Natty said that she wanted to make sure that everything is on the up and up tonight for Maxine's match, so she's going to be out there with her in her corner. Because remember, when Becky won that belt back, she cheated. She cheated to win that belt back, so Natty is going to be basically the authority, the enforcer on the outside to make sure everything goes okay. And I just thought to myself, that doesn't sound very good. I'm immediately suspicious of anybody who purports to be someone's friend and says, I'm going to be there for you. I'm going to be in your corner tonight. All of a sudden, out of nowhere. It's like, oh, really? Okay. Maxxine Dupri, though, she's such an innocent soul, she didn't think anything of it. She was excited by this. When Mark Nash introduced Becky as being from Dublin, Ireland, when they did the ring intros, she was booed. She basically, during the commercial break, she cut a heel promo on Ireland. And so that's to make absolutely sure that she would be booed. But I'll tell you what, when she came out initially and made her entrance, I was hearing boos. So kind of surprising. But then she just went full on heel on them, and that's all she had to do. No heroes welcome for Becky Lynch. So Maxxine had the edge early on. Becky very quickly took control when they went to an early break. Dupri fired back after the break with a fisherman suplex, dropped her straps down. She hit a leg drop across Becky's back. Dupri blocked the manhandle slam before Becky got a disarm her applied. Dupri countered out of it and got an ankle lock applied, and then Lynch countered that into a roll-up, only for a near fall. So they battled on the ropes until Becky hit a superplex from the middle rope, followed by a DDT for 2. Becky removed the top turnbuckle in one of the corners, and Maxxine followed with a German suplex, hit a flying crossbody off the top. Becky rolled through into a pin of her own, only for a 2 count. Maxxine countered the manhandle slam and then very slowly got an ankle lock applied. Lynch kicked Dupri back into the corner, and Maxxine, she managed to avoid colliding with the exposed steel. Becky was not so lucky, and when she came charging into the corner, Maxxine moved, and Becky went right into the steel. So Maxxine hit a spinning heel kick at this point, and if you go back and watch this, she completely whiffed on the kick. She actually did not connect with a spinning heel kick. She kind of blew her down. Down went Becky anyway. And so she covered her. But when Becky landed, she was so close to the ropes. And you see Natty is standing right there. Like, I could see what was about to happen before it even happened. But Maxxine didn't. So she gets down on the mat and she covers Becky. And sure enough, Natty grabs Becky's boot and she places it on the rope for the break. And Maxxine is like, oh my God, she's got the shocked face. She can't believe, what just happened here. She's just absolutely stunned by what happened. So Maxxine went back after Becky. Becky, though, caught her with a manhandle slam, and she got the win to retain the title. After the match, Natty got in the ring, and she attacked poor Maxxine. She attacked Maxxine for a while here. She's just kicking her ass. Finally, and she put her at a sharpshooter, and Maxine's tapping out. Here come officials to help break it up. So they cut back to Michael Cole at the announce desk, and he's talking, and then all of a sudden, oh, not again. And they cut back to the ring because Natty went back after Maxxine for a second time. So this was Becky. I want to point out something that you may not realize here. This was Becky and Maxine's 6th match together. Okay, they've now had 6 matches. Maxxine Dupri is the only person, the only opponent that Becky Lynch has had since August. Becky has exclusively worked, at least on television, exclusively worked with this woman now since August. And it's WrestleMania season, okay? You look ahead to WrestleMania, the Intercontinental title match, if they're going to have one, right, on the women's side. Becky Lynch is the right person for that role. I said, weeks ago when I did the predictions and I was kind of mapping out what I think the WrestleMania matches are going to be, Becky Lynch and AJ Lee for the Intercontinental Champion, because I'm sure AJ Lee will be in the Rumble, and then she'll be back in time for WrestleMania. And I think we're looking at a singles match between the two of them. And that's the way to go, right? When you're going into WrestleMania, Maxxine Dupri should not be the Intercontinental Champion. Becky Lynch should have that title. So it is in the hands right now of the right person. I would not be putting the belt back on Maxxine. But this is why I don't mind the Natty turn, right? Predictable as it was, and it was very predictable. But here's why I don't mind the Natty turn. Because it gives Maxxine someone not named Becky Lynch to work with. A veteran talent that she can now work with. And for Natty, it gets her back on television in a role because she hasn't even been featured. Now, are they going to go full Bloodsport Natty? Natty has this gimmick where when she's in Bloodsport, and I think she's used it in some other promotions as well, because she was allowed to work an NWA show last year. She's got this Bloodsport gimmick, right? Where she comes out, she's dressed like an MMA fighter. She has the whole entourage come down to the ring, like her training camp comes down to the ring with her. I wouldn't mind seeing it on WWE television. I don't know that they're going to go all the way with it, with the entourage and everything. And I feel like if you're going to do it, you should. That's the way to do it. You're going to do it, you go all the way with it. But this is also, it's not like they're interested in pushing Natty, I think, so much as they're just going to continue to try to elevate Maxxine. So they tried to use Becky to do that. I think it worked to a limited degree. It was not as good as when Becky worked with Lyra. And so now she's going to work with Natty, who's been around in this company forever. She's worked with everybody there is to work with. And she's obviously, she's good at what she does. And I think the idea is to just try to continue to elevate Maxxine Dupri. And that's fine. That's a perfectly fine middle of the card women's feud for them to do. And it gets this woman away from the Intercontinental title. So I like it. And I think it's going to work out a lot better that way. Now in the back, Adam Pearce spoke with AJ Styles. Pearce said that, again, AJ doesn't have to do this. And AJ said, I'm going to go talk to my wife. Paul Heyman showed up after AJ left. And Pearce acted happy to see him, and Heyman was very surprised when Pearce said that he had a good week. Pearce said that Braun Breaker is still suspended, just like he said he was last week. And Heyman spoke about the Vision six-man tag team match later tonight, and he confirmed that he would be at ringside because Adam Pearce said, are you going to be there? Are you going to be at ringside for that match? He said, yes. He goes, good. So will I. He's going to have eyes on Paul Heyman here during this six-man tag. Heyman was not happy about this development. So the Judgment Day were in their clubhouse, minus JD McDonough and minus Dominic, who was not there. Although apparently Dominic is now an AEW champion. If you saw that story. See, this is what happens when you use AI. So they all met backstage, and they were very excited about the possibility of all of them holding championship gold. Liv Morgan is confident that her and Roxanne Perez are going to win the women's tag team titles at Saturday night's main event. Raquel was talking about taking the women's championship away soon from Stephanie Vicaire as soon as she's cleared. And tonight, Finn Bálor has the opportunity to become world heavyweight champion in his home country. So they're going to have all the gold, right? And Balor said that they were on his island tonight, and he was not leaving without that title. Well, about that. You shouldn't make a promise that you're not going to keep, although in fairness, he's not a babyface, right? He might have been a babyface tonight. I guess actually he was a babyface tonight, so to go out there and make that kind of promise and then not deliver is kind of shitty, but he insisted, tonight I'm not leaving here unless I'm walking out with the World Heavyweight Championship. So then we had the Yeet Man, Jey Uso. Yes, he came out into the crowd to cut another promo. This is the new thing now with the Usos. They cut all their promos in the crowd. I don't know if it's because, they don't want to get winded on their way to the ring. I don't know. But Jey, it's almost like Jey maybe is more comfortable this way. When he's in the crowd, he's surrounded by all of his fans and all of his people. But he was by himself. This was the second or third week in a row now. There was no Jimmy Uso. He was out there by himself. And he said, me and Jimmy, we're still focused on the tag team titles, which they should be because they're the fucking champions. So we're still focused on the tag team titles. But he said that I'm here to declare myself for the Royal Rumble match. And he planned on going back to back. And I could just see the brain matter splattering against the wall from all the people as their heads explode, hearing that news, the possibility that Jey Uso may go back to back in the Royal Rumble. Yeah, let's not do that. So he gave Jimmy and Trin, Naomi, a quick shout out and said that he loved them. Hopefully nothing's wrong. I just assume that's Jimmy, not wanting to go on a European tour out of the country for 2 weeks while his wife is pregnant at home. And that doesn't imply that there's something wrong. So hopefully he's just spending time with his wife at home. I don't know, when is Naomi due? She announced in August. And so, yeah, we still got a ways to go, right? They're not probably due until WrestleMania time. All the best. All the best to the expecting couple. So backstage, New Day and Grayson Waller, they were accosting poor Adam Pearce. The IWC would lose their mind. Oh, if Jey Uso won the Royal Rumble again, can you imagine? Do you know how many people I would have live on YouTube that night just venting and waiting to hear what I have to say if Jey Uso won the Royal Rumble for the second year in a row? I'd have fucking 5,000 people sitting there before I even go live. It would be great for business, I'm not going to lie, but even still, it's not anything that I have any interest in seeing. So the New Day and Grayson Waller, again, they were yelling at Adam Pearce. Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods said they flew all the way over on Martin Luther King Jr. Day, their favorite holiday, to challenge the Usos for the tag team titles, but instead Jey is out there declaring himself for the Royal Rumble. Pearce told them that they would be in a four-way next week to determine the next challengers for the tag team titles, and Kingston and Woods were pissed about this, as they should be. A bald fraud. Don't jinx it. I'm not trying to jinx anything. I'm just saying it's a statement of fact. Like people will lose their fucking minds if Jey Uso. Now, if Jey Uso wins, which champion does he challenge? See, we got to start thinking about these things. So we got only our second match of the night so far. We were almost an hour into this show. It was a 6-man tag with Rey Mysterio. I thought I was watching Impact here for a little bit. We had Rey Mysterio, Penta, and Dragon Lee against Bronson Reed, Logan Paul, and Austin Theory. And true to his word, Adam Pearce took a seat at ringside right behind where Paul Heyman was standing. He was an avid observer here for this match. You might even say he was a wrestling observer for this match here. I'm just saying, he was observing the match. So Mysterio got a big reaction when he tagged into the match. Him and Bronson Reed tagged in at the same time, and you would think that people were like really into this as like a potential singles match here. So there was a 3-way dive spot from the baby faces that took us into a commercial break where Rey hit Logan with a springboard moonsault. Penta and Dragon Lee simultaneously wiped out Reed and Theory with flip dives. Of course I get my own. How could I not? It's my fucking show. I'm going to give it to myself. Later on in the match, Dragon Lee avoided a senton. Theory tagged in. So Dragon gave him a Hurricane Rana. He made a hot tag to Mysterio. Theory blocked the 619. Penta made a blind tag. He had a Penta driver. But Reed broke up the cover. Everybody's trading moves now. Mysterio tried a sliding dive to the floor. Yeah, that thing where he kind of slides under the bottom rope for the splash. But in doing so, Logan Paul actually caught him and then bounced him off the barricade. Dragon Lee and Penta, they took out Logan with a double baseball slide. So Penta and Dragon Lee, they knocked Reed out of the ring with some super kicks. Dragon wiped out Reed with a dive. Theory gave Penta a package neck breaker for a 2 count. So at this point, Paul Heyman goes to the apron. And he's going to distract the referee. Adam Pearce is yelling at him for this, which, by the way, also distracts the referee. So now the referee is doubly distracted. While this is all going on, Logan Paul from the floor passes a pair of brass knucks to Austin Theory in the ring, and Adam Pearce, who's on the opposite side of the apron, he sees this. So he jumps down from the apron. He goes all the way around to the other side. He reaches up and he rips the knucks right out of Theory's hand. And Heyman came over and he's like, "What's this?" And Heyman's like, "I don't know what that is." So Heyman got a little too close to Pearce for his liking. So Pearce is kind of backing him up the ramp. So after all the commotion, the brass knucks are laying there on the apron. They're sitting there on the apron. Rey Mysterio goes over and he grabs the knucks and he punches Theory in the face with them, which the referee did not see because the referee is distracted. Again, this time by Logan Paul, who's trying to tell the referee what's going on, but the referee has his back turned. So many distractions here in this match, so little time. So Penta super kicked Logan. He gave Theory a Mexican destroyer, and he got the pin. And there it is. What have I been telling you? What did I tell you from week number 1? When the Theory reveal happened, I said, Austin Theory is going to be the fall guy, and this is why he joined the Vision. It's less about pushing him. As they have a vision, no pun intended, they have a vision of him as being some kind of big single star for them the way they do Braun Breaker. No, or even Logan Paul. It's not about that. More than anything, they needed a guy in the Vision, so when they have matches like this, 6-man tags, tag team matches, even singles matches, when they need somebody to lose, they don't have to beat Logan Paul. They don't have to beat Bronson Reed, and they don't have to beat Braun Breaker because they certainly don't want to beat him more than they have to. Austin Theory is there for one reason and one reason only, to be the fall guy. And that's exactly what he was here in this match, because they don't want to beat the other 3. Jackie Redmond interviewed CM Punk backstage. Braun doesn't need the Vision, says Scorpion Deathlock. Yeah, you know what? He really doesn't. He really doesn't. Like, I can't even imagine them bringing somebody else in to, let's say, lead the Vision. Like, if it's not going to be Rollins, it could be Jericho, whatever, whoever it is. And just see, Breaker sort of falling in line with whoever that person is. Like, you can't go back to that. You know what I mean? Like, he's leveled up now, and frankly, he should be the one leading this group. But if it's not going to be him, then I certainly wouldn't bring somebody else in that he's going to have to be subservient to and take orders from. I think we're beyond that with Braun Breaker. But Jackie is in the back, and she's interviewing CM Punk ahead of the World Heavyweight Championship main event tonight. Punk got a big reaction. It was a little mixed. She asked how Punk would deal with facing Balor here in Ireland. And Punk said that he would deal with it by being the best in the world. He was playing an away game, but he wanted the game on his stick in overtime. Big hockey fan he is. And Jackie. Because this pressure is what he wanted to prove that he was the best in the world and not just in the United States. Said the same pressure that made him the best would break Balor. We'll see. After the break, Heyman confronted Pierce in the back and told him that he thought he was the best general manager that Raw has ever seen, and we're all going to miss you when you're gone from this show. Pierce asked him if that was a threat. Are you threatening me? Sounds like Cornholio now. Are you threatening me? He goes, no. See, that could be used against me if I was threatening you. Pierce at that exact moment was getting a call on his phone. And Heyman told him, you might just want to take that call. And off went Paul Heyman. The plot thickens. See, again, the thing I like about this, they're at least telling a story. They're threading the story along in multiple segments throughout the entire show. Like, one of the best parts of Raw last week was the stuff in the ring and then in the back later with Pierce and Braun Breaker. Adam Pearce has been killing it in this role. Normally it's one of those things where it's like, all right, you don't want the authority figures to just kind of overshadow everybody else. But like, he's obviously deeply involved in this story. This is his role, and I just think he does a great job at it. And he's been the Raw GM now for, it's probably 4 or 5 years? By this point, you would think, okay, you know what? We're kind of sick of him. It's time for a change. I wouldn't mind it if Adam Pearce spent another 2 or 3 years in this role. I think he's honestly, when I think back to like Raw GMs and people that have filled this role before, I still think the best Raw general manager has been Eric Bischoff. And I thought that he was very good in that role. Pearce is probably the best that we have had on Raw since Bischoff. I just think he's excelled very well in that role. Rhea Ripley and Io Sky, the reigning women's tag team champions, were out to the ring next. And they talked about their upcoming defense on Saturday night's main event in Montreal this weekend against Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez. But Liv and Roxanne, when are you going to learn? And then Io finished off by saying, Rio is always on top. Rhea revealed that after they retain their titles, they've been informed that she and Io will be in the Women's Royal Rumble match. So we have some people declaring, and then we have some people being informed that they're going to be in the match. So it's a little bit of a disconnect there. So that brought out Liv and Roxanne. Liv said that they're delusional if they think the two of them aren't taking those tag team titles on Saturday. Liv had a friendly piece of advice for Io and urged her to consider it. She said, see, with Rhea, how it always works is that she's going to turn her back on her tag team partner at the end of the day. And she knows this because she's done it to her before. But her selfishness is always going to get the better of her, leaving her with nothing and no one. I have to say, I admire the way that Liv has carried on a grudge with Rhea over all these years. She just cannot let this go. No one holds a grudge quite like Liv Morgan. So Roxanne then revealed that she and Liv and Raquel will all be entering the Royal Rumble match, which means it's going to be a member of the Judgment Day going on to the main event of WrestleMania. You know, I can remember sitting here about a month ago, actually over a month ago now, as we were heading into the Continental Classic in AEW, and I looked at all the people that are in the Continental Classic. I said, man, the Callis family has like 3 different people. How could they lose this thing, right? If it's not going to be Okada, it'll be Takeshita. If it's not Takeshita, it'll be Fletcher. And I think they might have even had one other person in there. And I'm like, boy, they sure have the numbers. And then not a single member of the Callis family went on to win the Continental Classic. So the point is, just because you have a lot of members of one group that are in a particular match doesn't mean that you are going to win. Getting a little overconfident here. So Raquel showed up, and actually Rhea, before Raquel showed up, Rhea threw it back in their face and asked them, how's that going to work? If all of you guys are going to be in the Royal Rumble match, how's that going to work then? So Raquel showed up, ambushed the champs from behind. Raquel put Io down with a Tejana bomb. Rhea tried to fight them off by herself, but she fell victim to an oblivion. And the challenger stood tall here, which probably does not bode well for their chances at Saturday night's main event. Backstage, Bayley was mad at herself and was muttering things to herself while Lyra Valkyria stood by and watched. Lyra then told Bayley, look, I feel bad for letting you down last week. Remember they had that number 1 contenders women's match for the tag belts? And Bayley said, look, neither of us got pinned last week, and 2026 is full of possibility. Said that they could both enter the Royal Rumble match, and neither of us would mind if the other one wins. And Lyra's facial expression here indicated otherwise. And so after victories over Rayo and Bravo Americano, it was Javon Evans, this time his opportunity to get into the ring with a real American, El Grande Americano. I call him a real American, of course. He's got the American colors and everything on his outfit. El Grande Americano was unsuccessful, by the way, in his main event match against Vikingo at the AAA show on Saturday night. But here we go. And what a weekend for him, by the way. El Grande Americano goes from Mexico City on Saturday to Belfast on Monday. Early in the match, this was amazing. Early in the match, Michael Cole inadvertently referred to Javon Evans as Kofi Kingston. Because apparently to Michael Cole, they all look the same. Not only did he refer to him as Kofi Kingston, he did so on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. What's wrong with this guy? For shame, Michael, for shame. But then they went to commercial, and when they came back, shit got serious, and Cole said that there was a developing situation. So in the ring was El Grande Americano and the referee, Jessica Carr. On the outside of the ring, over next to the announce desk, Javon Evans is on the ground. He's on his knees. He's sitting up on his knees, but he's clutching his arm. And specifically, he's holding his wrist I legitimately thought maybe he injured his wrist at first because he was holding his wrist. But clearly he was holding his arm in a very awkward fashion. And they called the match off, right? Jessica Carr waves it off. They ring the bell. And now he's kind of like rubbing his shoulder area over here. It's like, oh boy, this is not looking good here. So I'm thinking, there's no fucking way. As soon as I see him rubbing his shoulder area, I'm like, there's no fucking way. There is no way that the shoulder demon has struck again. This cannot be. Thankfully, it was not the shoulder demon. Remember, I banished him. I sent him away. He's sipping a Mai Tai on a beach somewhere, taking a break. It was not the shoulder demon. Sean Ross Sapp is reporting that Javon Evans is okay. Apparently, they called the match off out of an abundance of caution. There was concern he was hurt. Maybe some people are saying maybe they thought he was concussed. And I don't know if he was concussed or not. He may not be concussed, but apparently he's fine. He's okay. His arm is okay. His shoulder is okay. Shoulder's intact. So it was an injury scare and not an injury. And that's great because obviously he just got called up to Monday night. Like literally just got called up to Monday Night Raw in the last couple of weeks. And we're heading into the Royal Rumble. And we're heading into WrestleMania. And I don't know what his role is going to be, if he'll even have a match at WrestleMania. I don't know, but this would be the worst time of year. And the worst time period, given that they just called him up, for him to get injured and have to be out for any significant period of time. So, thankfully, bullet dodged. And let's hope the shoulder demon stays away and we didn't just jinx it. And he makes a comeback. But look, some of the chat said better safe than sorry. Absolutely. I'm sure the referee is not in trouble or has heat for it. I mean, look, if it was a situation where the referee made a judgment call and she wasn't even being told by somebody in the back, hey, ring the bell, call the match off. If that was on her, good for her. Because that's what the referee should do. The referee thinks that there is an injury, if there's a potential concussion, and sees signs that are troubling, and maybe, I don't know if she consulted first with Dr. Amen, he was at ringside, you got to make a judgment call. You know, that's the way you go. Now, would they make that same judgment call if Javon Evans was in the main event of WrestleMania and the match just started? I don't know. But, in a random match on fucking Raw against El Grande Americano, you know what? It's not worth it. So let's just call the match off and play it safe and not take any chances. So we got another video package for Obafemi. He's on his way. He's almost here. And again, the belief is that he is coming to Monday Night Raw. Royal Rumble. It's right around the corner, less than 2 weeks away. The only question is, what number does he get? I think we'll see him at the Royal Rumble. Adam Pearce approached the Vision backstage, and Pearce told Paul Heyman he wanted Braun Breaker on Raw next week. So now he's having a change of heart. He suspended this man and sent him home indefinitely, but now he wants him to show up next week so they can have a heart-to-heart. And Heyman figured, okay, that means you're lifting the suspension. And Pearce said, look, I just want to talk to him face-to-face. Heyman said he would be doing the same thing if he got that same phone call that Pearce got earlier. Pearce said, look, it has nothing to do with the phone call that I got. I just want to talk to Braun man to man. And Heyman was very dismissive and told Pearce to be on his best behavior. And I want to give a shout out to Tro on X because he tweeted me this theory about what this may be all about. And I think this would be a great way to go with it. But this is what he sent me. He said, just wondering if they'll have Breaker be in the Rumble as a super early entry, with the story being that he was brought back, but this is his punishment. Or if he'll get a late entry, with the idea being that Paul Heyman promised not to sue if Breaker got to pick his own entry. I think it's one of those two. Why else would Adam Pearce be calling him back 6 days? Is it? No, 5 days. 5 days before the Royal Rumble. Why else would he be calling Braun Breaker back to Raw? If not, if it wasn't tied into the Rumble match in some way, shape, or form. So that's really what it boils down to here. Is Paul Heyman really full of himself thinking, oh, you're going to be in trouble, right? Whoever that phone call was from. And thinking, well, Braun's going to get to pick number 30 in the Rumble. And then, Pierce swerves him and says, oh, I'm reinstating you, all right, but you're going to enter at number 1. That's what I tend to think is going to happen. I think Braun Breaker is probably going to enter very early, probably number 1 in the Royal Rumble match. And if he wants to win the Rumble, he's got to start all the way from the very beginning. And he's going to get a shitload of eliminations. If he doesn't win, he's going to get a shitload of eliminations and have a dominant performance. But it could swing the other way. But I think he's onto something here. I think it's got to be one of those two. I would definitely tie it into the Rumble. He's going to be in the Rumble. You can't not have Braun Breaker in the Royal Rumble. But I think it's more likely he is forced to enter early than enter late. So it just comes down to what do you think it's going to be? Number 1 or number 30? That's it. So after this is when we got the AJ Styles segment where he told Pierce he spoke to his wife and he accepted Gunther's challenge for the Royal Rumble. Backstage, an angry Asuka yelled at Kairi Sane, saying that you embarrassed me last week. And she said that Kairi should apologize. Actually, no, Kairi did apologize, but she was saying, you know what? What happened last week hurt almost as much as Io turning on her. And that's when Kairi apologized and promised to make sure that Asuka wins the Royal Rumble. I promise I'll make sure that you win that Royal Rumble match. She said she would do anything. And Asuka called her a good girl and said in a very low, calm voice, which somehow is even more threatening than when she's yelling at Kairi. But she said, don't make me yell at you again. Because you know what that sounds like. Kairi! Yeah. Don't make me yell at you again. This is very disturbing, I have to say. This relationship here between these two is it's very unnerving. So then it was time for our main event for the World Heavyweight Championship. They should have made this a Belfast brawl. But it was a straight wrestling match. It was CM Punk defending the world title against Ireland's own Finn Bálor. Champion entered first, which normally would annoy me, but I'll allow it, given that they were in Ireland tonight. But he comes out first, and they cut to a female fan in the crowd who is literally just crying. She's just in tears as CM Punk is making his way out to the ring. And I mean, my theory is that maybe she bit her tongue. I know that hurts like a bitch. It's happened to me before. She either bit her tongue or she bit the inside of her cheek. I don't know. But they went to a commercial break. Now I should point out that when Punk comes out here, he was not booed out of the build. He wasn't booed too badly. It was a definite mix of boos and cheers. They did sing along, though, to his song. So then they went to a commercial break. When they came back, the lights went out. And the fans began to sing the Ole Ole song. And then we got Finn Bálor out to his old NXT music. Boy, I haven't heard that music in a very long time. How I miss that music. Don't ever let anybody tell you that entrance music does not matter. Or downplay the importance of entrance music in wrestling. And the reason why people are so adamant that fucking Def Rebel need to pack their bags and get the fuck out. Because this is yet another example. And Kit Wilson. Look at Kit Wilson. Okay, now everybody loves Kit Wilson's song. I think it's terrible. But everybody loved Kit Wilson's song. And he's clearly getting over with it. And then I saw something, and maybe he said something about how in the UK, like, I think it just is under the number 50 spot on like the charts. It's like climbing the charts or something. Like, I don't know what's going on, but there's obviously some movement going on here, you know, when it comes to Kit Wilson. And it all goes back to that fucking entrance music. So again, don't let anybody tell you that entrance music in wrestling, it doesn't mean anything, or it doesn't mean what it used to mean. And if anybody tries to tell you that, you tell them to go fuck themselves, because they're wrong. I wish they would let him keep the old NXT music. I'm sure this was just a one-night thing. For a moment there, I thought maybe he was going to come out with the paint on, but probably better off we leave the demon alone. Let the demon remain retired. Oh God, Kit. We're gonna start with this now. Kit Wilson. He's getting over. I don't know what his ceiling is, but with each passing week, I become more and more convinced that he may have a U.S. title run in his future. If this keeps up, could happen. So we got the big time ring intros by Kevin Nash here, or not Kevin Nash, by Mark Nash. Yeah, of all the people that Kevin Nash would be flying to Ireland to do ring intros for, I don't think CM Punk would be that person if you've followed their little back and forth over the last few weeks. Kevin Nash ain't getting on a plane to go to Ireland for anyone. It was Mark Nash, his cousin. So he was there doing the ring introductions. Balor was beloved. Punk was not. He was booed. We had a big fight feel for this one, which is kind of wild, honestly, to think. And I know it was because of where they were. But just even sitting here and saying, like, oh, the big fight feel for this, like, Finn Bálor has not won a match since a win over Dragon Lee at the beginning of September. He's been winless since Labor Day. But this had a big fight feel. So we got dueling chants until Punk hit a suicide dive, which sent Balor flying backwards over the announce table. Not even for Raquel. No, not even for Raquel. I know Nash is he's quite fond of Raquel and he's given her advice before. He's a big fan of hers, but no. Now with those knees at this point, he ain't flying to Ireland. So after Balor kind of fell over backwards over the announce desk, Punk stands up on the desk and he poses to loud boos as they go to a commercial break. Punk hit a rising knee strike and a bulldog coming out of that break. They traded strikes until Balor landed a Pele kick. Balor set up for the coup de grace, but Punk met him on the rope up top and hit a superplex. And before Punk could make a cover, Balor caught him in a small package for a 2 count. So Balor dumps Punk out to the floor, and then he hits him with a big flip dive outside. Back in the ring, Balor hit a shotgun drop kick. Punk, though, dodged the coup de grace. Crowd booed as Punk hit a GTS, but Balor kicked out and the fans popped. Punk got the Anaconda Vice applied. Balor, though, got a rope break, and Balor fought out of a GTS, followed with a sling blade, 2 shotgun drop kicks, and a coup de grace that landed flush, but only got a near fall. And this was the near fall that I mentioned earlier. I'm like, man, that crowd was ready. That crowd was ready for a title change. They would have burst. They would have burst if you would have won the world championship right there. But look, I know it doesn't fit the creative. They're telling this story with the Judgment Day. All of them are going to fail in going after their respective titles. Balor had to fail tonight. Liv and Raquel are not going to win the titles on Saturday, I don't believe. And when Stephanie is ready to come back, she's going to beat Raquel. So it doesn't really work if Balor wins the World Heavyweight Championship, which they could just take it away from him quickly, I guess. But I get it. It doesn't fit the story that they're trying to tell, but still, what a moment that would have been. So Punk went for a GTS again. Balor, though, countered into a roll-up for a 2 count. Balor went after Punk. Punk, though, used a single leg takedown, rolled over to his feet, and hit the GTS for the win to retain the World Heavyweight Championship. And after the match was over, Punk helped Balor to his feet. They shared a few words. Punk hugged him, and Balor nodded back at him before leaving the ring. They had to stretch a little bit here at the end. I'm assuming because of the early stoppage in the Javon Evans match, they probably had a little bit of extra time. So they were stretching so much that for a moment there, I'm like, is Balor, because Balor's watching him now from the aisle. And I'm like, is Balor going to run back in there and fuck him up? Like, what's going to happen here? But then they just went off the air. So I assume they just had some extra time because of that. This was a very good match. Very good match. Very unusual to see Finn Bálor in this kind of situation because it's been so long since he's really been booked with any sort of real credibility against someone the caliber of a CM Punk. he has not been in that mix. There was a rumor going into 2025. This is going to be the year he gets a big singles push. And then it's like, haha, right? Fucking Nelson from The Simpsons here. It's like, yeah, we're still waiting for that big singles push. And now he cut that promo on Raw a few weeks ago saying 2026, he will wear gold again. It's like, yeah, okay, he'll wear the tag team title. But like, I just can't believe that all of a sudden he's going to get this push to the World Heavyweight Championship. I don't see it. It would be nice, but I don't see it happening. But for him to be out there in front of that crowd, it was the perfect crowd for him to be out there having this match here. I can see why, when the show was over, he said that this right here is the most memorable moment of his career. Think about that. He's had a pretty productive career going back well over a decade. And for tonight to be the most memorable moment of it is special. So that's how much that match meant, even in defeat. That's how much that match, meant to him. And look, Punk has had some really good TV matches. He had one with Braun Breaker right at the beginning of the year on the Stranger Things episode. So, he's been putting in some good work as well. So, best thing on the entire show was the main event. The rest of the show was solid. There wasn't anything terribly blow away, but I like some of the story progression, especially with the Adam Pearce and the Vision stuff. And then the Gunther and the AJ Styles stuff is a pretty big deal, considering what is going to be on the line in that match. But I'm happy that finally we have some real progression now for the Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble is one of their biggest shows of the year. And I just feel like they take it for granted sometimes, where it's like, oh, it's the Rumble. People think the Rumble is fun. We have, 30 men, 30 women. We'll just start announcing some names soon. It's like, no, put some real effort into it. And so now you look at the Rumble card. We have the 2 Rumble matches. And then we have Drew McIntyre defending the WWE Championship again to the winner of the 4-way this weekend, which is going to be Sami Zayn. And now we have a pretty big fucking match between Gunther and AJ Styles, where AJ is putting his career on the line. And that's where it's going to end, because the last 2 years, the Rumble has had 4 matches. So I don't see it being any differently this year. It'll probably be 4 matches. But that's pretty solid right there. That's a pretty, again, for a 4-match card, that's a pretty solid Rumble card. So I appreciate the progression as far as those stories are concerned. But that does it for the European tour. They're going to be in Canada starting this weekend for SmackDown and for Saturday night's main event. I don't know where they are for Raw next week, but I know they're back on American soil, I do believe. I don't know where. But we're back to normal next week. 8 p.m. Eastern, Monday Night Raw, live on YouTube at, 11:15, 11:20. I'm sorry, no, 11. Right. I think in 3 hours. God forbid. 11 o'clock on YouTube. So we're back to a normal schedule next week. Let's take a look at the Twitter poll. What did you think of Raw from Belfast? 66.6. Uh-oh. The mark of the beast. Thumbs up. 21.5% thumbs in the middle and about 12% thumbs down. So pretty good numbers there for Raw. Again, I enjoyed the show overall. You guys chime in on that poll. You guys chime in here too, because I'm going to get into your super chats. And I'm also going to say thank you again for getting us to 90,000 subscribers. Holy shit, 90K. Tonight was the night. You guys made it happen. Thank you for that. Oh, are they in Toronto? Is that where it is? Toronto, okay. I like those Canadian crowds. I do like those Canadian crowds. JDFVA, thank you for the $2. Posh Boy. We got Posh Boy, 97. Listening to you since last year's Elimination Chamber. Big love from Peterborough, England. Up the posh. Up the posh. It's funny how many people, in any given week, how many people I hear from or email in that are from England. Like different parts of England. I've learned about many different parts of England that I didn't even know existed. Actually, Peterborough, I'm pretty sure I've gotten messages from someone in Peterborough. I don't know if it was you. But thank you, brother. Now we climb to 100K. I mean, look, 100K is the next big goal. I don't know how long that's going to take. That's probably going to take a while, but we're getting there. We're getting very close to the number of people that were supposedly at the Pontiac Silverdome for WrestleMania 3. We're climbing. Death Scythe says, if AJ is going to lose at the Royal Rumble, at least give us Punk and AJ next week. Even if it's non-title. We need at least one singles match between the two of them. Yeah, but you got to announce that. You got to announce it. You got to promote it for at least a week. I don't think AJ is losing at the Royal Rumble. It can't be over. It can't be over. It can't be over in Riyadh in less than 2 weeks. It just can't be. It can't be. Paul Van Summeren, Natty the Farter is toxic. Now that was Vince McMahon's great idea. Natty Night Fart. Thomas Malloy, Michael Cole mentioning the Titanic being built in Belfast for Corey Graves to then tell him, let's talk about a more successful voyage. That's still not as good, though, as Michael Cole mistaking Javon Evans for Kofi Kingston on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. I think the best part about that was after he did it, he tried to, I think he realized what he did, and he tried to very quickly explain it away like, oh, he had seen Kofi earlier in the day. He tried to think of something. There was nothing. There was nothing he could say, but he tried. Paul says, Punk is so red, he can miss a week or two of tanning. They're getting a lot of sun over there in Ireland. Is Ireland known for having, some great beaches over there? I know that's what Greece is known for. Maybe Punk's been hanging out at the beach. Get some beach music going on here. There we go. This is for you, Punk. This is what CM Punk has been doing all week. He's been lounging at the beach with his belt, playing this music in the background. Chicago for MBK. The Belfast crowd was awesome. Made watching today's already more than a good Raw that much more enjoyable. It's amazing what a hot, invested crowd can do for a show. Paul says, are they really going to have AJ retire at the Royal Rumble in less than 2 weeks? There should be more time for build. There has to be something else happening. Yeah, he's going to win. He's going to win because there's no way. There's just no way it's ending at the Rumble. It can't. It won't. We have B-Man the Champ. I don't know if you saw it, but Christian Miracle came up with this idea for the Royal I don't know what that is. RTM, I don't know what that is. The 2 Rumble matches, all 4 world champions defend at the Rumble, and all 4 defend inside separate chamber matches. What are your thoughts? Yeah, I don't like it. It's unnecessary. I'm not high on that idea. Barry says, I am Groot. Very good. There are worse things in life that you could be. There's Ragnarok. There's Ragnarok. I think I just took his question today. Inserted it into the mailbag for next week's podcast. Duff's Vids. What's the fastest growing country in the world? Ireland. It's always Dublin. How does Miss Piggy write a letter with a pig pen? Sidro. How much pirates charge for corn? A buccaneer. I love how he puts the laughing emoji and he's laughing at his own joke. You're not supposed to laugh at your own joke. B-Man, the champ. Sorry, but I barely reacted when Balor almost got the 3. I didn't believe for a second they would put the title on him. Also, Stevie Wonder could have seen that natty turn coming. My level of shock was non-existent. All right. Well, there were a lot of fans in the building tonight who did react to that near fall. They pay attention to the show. They should have known better, but when you can get the crowd that invested, you're doing something right. A dark shadow. Retro KOH says, I missed my chance to say this last week. I will no longer accept Def Rebel slander after they produced this gem, Kit Wilson. Are we sure they're responsible for that song? I'm not convinced they are. No, it's okay. I give you all permission to continue slandering Def Rebel. In fact, I'll be very disappointed if you don't. Alexander says, my only complaint with the natty turn is she barely is on the show. She should have been Maxxine's manager since she became the understudy. I agree with that. That actually, I do agree with. Yeah, they did the vignettes and everything, but she probably should have been in Natty's corner for the last couple months. Eric the Sean, how long before TNA creates the AMC Championship? They keep putting out shows like the one they had last week. They won't have enough time to. And they'll be off AMC. There he is again. Toya ain't nice. Congratulations. Well deserved. Thank you, Toya. Thank you. Rio entrances getting fire. Not complaining. They were getting very very touchy-feely during their entrance. I don't know. Alexander says, imagine TNA gets Vince Russo back. God help. Well, Vince Russo's a little bit busy right now. He's one with the Juggalos now. So he will not be with TNA. He's with JCW. Nick Rosso says, what are your thoughts on the Trey Miguel situation? Sad update on Def Rebel. Oh, on Rebel, not Def Rebel. She is now disabled, has to use the handicap parking. Unfortunate, but yeah, well, she, I believe, has lung cancer. So she's undergoing treatment for lung cancer. She's been documenting her journey now for a while. As far as the other situation is concerned, we don't have the answers. So I'm sure more will come out on that situation, but until we know for sure, there's really not a whole lot to be said, honestly. Deathside says, another way AJ makes Gunther pass out by TKO. Yeah, you know what, though? There are ways to have AJ beat Gunther that don't involve him passing out. I might explore those options first. Toya says maybe Gunther and AJ ends in a no contest. It's very possible. No contest, count out, DQ. There's any number of ways that the match could go where you can protect Gunther without having to pin him. Duff's Vids, what did the rain say when it got too cold? What the hell? What are you doing, a Booker T impression here? Bobby means if you had the pen and paper in hand, how would you book? You're going to ask me to book the main events for WrestleMania? I'm not doing that. You can't do that. That's how they did it last year. They probably went to Triple H and said, here, write it on a fucking napkin. And that's what we got. We got the garbage we got last year. That Night 2 main event. I talked about this anyway on the Sound Off on Sunday, honestly. I think I gave you a better sense of things with what I would prefer to see at WrestleMania. Perfect world situation, it would be Cody and Punk, but there's no indication of us getting Cody and Punk. So I kind of like the idea of Drew going in as the champion, and you could do Drew and Cody and Jacob, or you could do Drew and Roman. I don't think Roman needs to be wrestling for a title, but I wouldn't mind that match. With Drew winning this time? I mean, that'd be okay with me. You know, and then I think on the other side, you're probably looking at Punk and Breaker, and maybe with Seth inserted in there if he's back in time, make it a triple threat. Duff's Vid says, what was Michael Jackson's preferred pronouns? He. Willie Billy. I was watching the backstage segment with Natty on mute at the time, and even then I could tell she was turning heel. Her expression gives it away. It really was, like, not a great poker face. It was pretty obvious what was going on there. Duff's Vids. Why did the transgender man only eat salads? Because he was a herbivore. A herbivore. Christopher Bennett, any word on Javon's injury? There is no injury. There is no injury. Javon is okay. They thought maybe he was concussed, but he's okay. So, thankfully, injury avoided. Alexander says, Liv and Rhea is the modern day Lita and Trish. I don't like making those kinds of comparisons, but they have had a lot of matches together, and they have had a lot of heat with each other now for a few years, so I mean, maybe it's close, but I don't look at Liv and Rhea and think, oh, shit, you know what it reminds me of? Lita and Trish. Like, no. Lita and Trish remind me of Lita and Trish. Rhea and Liv remind me of Leah and Riv. Or did I say Leah and Riv? Rhea and Liv. Wow. I completely just transposed those two. Arnold PJ says, your os pin theory was correct. See, now that deserves. There you go. My os pin theory. It was correct. We got Walker Stubbs. Says, hey, Mr. Solo. Started watching wrestling in 2009. And when did you start watching wrestling? This is my first super chat. Have a good rest of your night. Walker, I appreciate the support very much. Thank you. I started watching wrestling a lot earlier than you did. I started watching wrestling, well, I mean, as far as the earliest I can remember, would have been 1987. So that was long time ago. Long time ago. Seen a lot of wrestling. Stone Cold E.T. is back. This is Stone Cold E.T. and I want to order a couple of cheeseburgers, and that's the bottom line. Well, you better give him some cheeseburgers because you don't want to piss off Stone Cold E.T. Give me a hell yeah. Face Beerus says, who has the most momentum at this moment? Leah and Riv, the new Goldberg. Goldberg. Goldberg is a classic. Who has the most momentum at this moment in WWE? Drew, Punk, Braun, Gunther, Roman? Doesn't seem... Roman? What momentum does Roman have? He's never on television. Gunther feels like he's been cooled off. I think the most momentum would be Drew McIntyre, the guy who just beat Cody Rhodes in 3 stages of hell to win the championship. That's who has the most momentum. Soon the answer will change, though. Soon the answer will change. And his name is Obafemi. I don't think we're going to have to wait too long. Roscoe P. Coltrane, thank you for the super chat. Alexander, watch. They will get Tozawa over with new music. You know who I think would get over with his wacky music if he came along right now? You remember Yoshi Tatsu's theme song? It was a weird theme song. But I kind of feel, and it's got no words to it though. It's got no words to it, but I feel like that music would work for him if he came along today. Hollywood guy, hello Solo, what's up? Hear me out. Balor loses all of his matches and turns to his demon persona, causing him to get some wins. What do you think? I don't like it just because we've been down this road before. Like, he's already a loser. You say like he should lose all of his matches. Dude, he's been losing all of his matches for years. He loses far more than he wins. And the last time we saw the demon persona was not good. Well, I mean, I guess after that, technically the last time we saw the demon was probably Hell in a Cell with Edge, and he lost that too. The thing with the demon that I always felt was a mistake. There was nothing about the demon, like outside of the entrance, once the bell rang, there was nothing about the demon that was any different than Finn Bálor. He wrestled exactly the same way, like his mannerisms, his moveset, a basic match did not look any different other than the paint on his chest and the paint on his face. There was really nothing to differentiate the demon from Finn Bálor. So unless he was going to bring some new version of the demon in where it like when he's wearing the paint, he's like a different performer in some way. Something's different about him. He's more aggressive, like whatever it is. I don't see the point in doing it. Other than, TKO, we got to market everything. And so they could sell a shitload of demon merchandise. Outside of that, I don't really see the purpose in it. Toya ain't nice. The only demon that matters is the shoulder demon, says Sidro. That's right. That's the most powerful demon now. Is the shoulder demon. Toya says, do you see Trick costing Sammy at the Rumble? I don't think so. It's possible. Especially because I think Sammy is pinning Trick to win the four-way. So it's possible. It's possible. Jeremy Dyer. WWE should put Obafemi and The Miz and call them Famiz. Listen, Vince. Sit this one out. You're not wanted anymore. Dark Shadow says, congrats on the big milestone, Solo. If anyone deserves it, it's you. Keep up the great work and also stay away from Javon, Shoulder Demon. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Oh, look at that. We're 12 out of 15 on that bonus goal for bonus Be the Booker. We are going to be doing regular Be the Booker. So you got one round at least coming. You got 3 more, though, of the off the goal. We'll do 2 rounds. Okay, we got... Who's next? Wink the Cosmic Grandma. Said, I asked you if Tony Khan was going to do a Death Riders versus Callis family, and you said, why would you even put that out into the universe? A week later, it happens. Sorry I did that to you, bro. Yeah, well, it seemed obvious that that was where it was going to go. The thing with that is, I don't mind the Death Riders stuff as much anymore, just because it like they're not taking over the show in the way that they used to. It's not around the World Championship. They're kind of going face in a way now against the Callis family. So it doesn't bother me as much. It's when it was basically just sort of defining the show every week. And then we had Moxley and the main event of every pay-per-view, and it just got to be too much. Hey, Linkmaster, thank you. Super Cam Fit says, congrats on 90K. Just wanted to show love. Side note, I can't hear Gunther's theme without hearing Mercedes Monet's crappy CEO theme as well. I guess there's maybe a slight similarity there. Thank you, brother. I appreciate the kind words. Sidro says, can a ninja throw a ninja star? Sure he can. Sure he can. And again, he laughs at his own joke, which I don't understand the joke. What am I missing? I'm missing something here. Stone Cold E.T. Because you know Stone Cold E.T. likes to come to White Castle, order a couple of cheeseburgers before I whoop some. Give me a hell yeah if you're down with Stone Cold E.T. Because Stone Cold E.T. likes whooping ass when Stone Cold E.T. rides a bicycle. I ride it long, I ride it hard, just like the Texas rattlesnake when he's done whipping Vince McMahon. Oh, hell yeah. Man, Stone Cold E.T. is having some fun tonight. Oh, sure you can. You and your video game references. Look at this. Half the chat didn't even get it. Wrestle Mess. Rumble should start 1 Lesnar, 2 Oba, 3 Kit Wilson. Well, we can tell Wrestle Mess is no Kit Wilson fan. Actually, we kind of have to get now. I think we do have to get Kit Wilson in there with Brock Lesnar. I think Braun Breaker is probably entering in number 1 after next week. We'll find out he's going to enter in number 1, but maybe Braun Breaker and Kit Wilson, 1 and 2. I know Hadouken, that's Street Fighter, but I don't know Shuriken or Shuriken. It's like I don't think I've heard of that before. Hadouken, I know. Stone Cold E.T. What do you say, E.T.? What do you say, E.T.? I said I want to order a couple of cheeseburgers, and that's the bottom line. Hell yeah. Crypto in Poker, Southland on Netflix has Shield vibes. Did you watch? I did not. Southland is based on the LAPD, right? That one I haven't seen. But if it's giving you Shield vibes, I may have to watch it. I actually watched The Rip last night, that new Netflix movie with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. I enjoyed it. It's got Steve Yeun in there too from The Walking Dead. I enjoyed it. Thought it was good. Nice little twist there at the end. Sidro. Bought expensive car and found reverse gear broken. There's no going back now. And if I work in a record store, I would tell customers all sales are vinyl. Oh, come on. Ridiculous. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You had your best one tonight, then you had to go ruin it. Duff's Vids is going to try to trump you here. Think we'll get Bianca Belair and LA Knight as... Oh, well, I thought he was telling a joke. Do you think we'll get Bianca Belair and LA Knight as surprise returns for the Rumble? If not, who will be the surprise? Yeah, I mean, I'm banking on Bianca to win. I'm hoping she's back and she wins the Women's Rumble. And then LA Knight, I have every expectation that we'll see him in the Men's Rumble. It's not like he's hurt. There's no reason to keep him out of the Rumble. Ragnarok, have Oba debut and destroy Dom for the Intercontinental title and then unleash him on a Gunther-type title reign, or have him win the Rumble. I'm good with either. I floated a very bold idea for him to win the Rumble this weekend on the podcast. Paul says, do you remember Crybabies? Gum. I do. Yeah, I wasn't really big on it, but I do remember it. And Base Beerus, Shoulder Demon Finisher, the Shoulder Breaker. The Papa Shango Shoulder Breaker. See, that actually makes a lot of sense. And Linkmaster says, Sable in 03 was way hotter than in 99. You know, I actually agree with you on that. She actually was. I found her more attractive in 03 when she came back. I don't know what it was that changed. Maybe her hairstyle. Maybe it was the hair. I have to say, there was also a moment there in 99 where you know, she clearly had her enhancements, and it was too much. It was like, I can't believe this woman is not tipping over right now. I don't know if that was something that she reversed or what, but she came back a few years later. She looked, I mean, more or less the same, but there was just something about her. She had like a different glow to her, and I think her hair was different, and it was like, oh, okay. But she wasn't back for very long. She was enhanced for, oh, she was enhanced all right. She definitely was. Kyle says, did Finn win? Yes, he's the new world heavyweight champion. Rejoice. Now go to bed, Finn. Turn this off and go to bed and just enjoy the moment. You never know when it might end. A throwing star is called a shuriken in Japanese. See, I didn't know that. I actually have a few ninja stars that my dad had. But I did not know that that was the Japanese name for them. Didn't she sue shortly after the 03 run? No, she sued after the 99 run. And then she ended up coming back. So I think it was a sexual harassment lawsuit. And she ended up coming back to the company. Ace Italiano says, what does Tiffany Stratton do at WrestleMania? She has been on the card. She was champion for 200 plus days, and she is in the WrestleMania video. Well, I mean, she's been out injured. I don't know what the nature of the injury is, so it all depends on when she's able to come back. She may be back at the Rumble. As far as what she does, I don't know. You know, there's always the women's U.S. title. I would not vault her right back into the women's world championship picture. I think that there are other matches that can be done, assuming we get Bianca back. So maybe the U.S. title is something for her to go after. Maybe her working with Julia would not be the worst thing for Julia. You know, putting her in the ring with an actual star on that roster. Can't believe Dominic Mysterio has 3 belts now. I know. Who knew? Who knew that he was an AEW champion? You learn something new every day. All right, so we got one round, it looks like, of Be the Booker coming our way here, and we got to make it a good one, so let's do it.
Ladies and gentlemen,
let's do it.
It is now time to Be the Booker.
We have got to make it count. And that is what I intend to try to do here for all of you. What if we got Bianca against Jordan for the title of WrestleMania? I would love that. And I think objectively it would be a better match than Bianca and Jade, but Bianca and Jade would be the bigger match. Because Jordan is still brand new to TV, and the relationship and the friendship was established already with Bianca and Jade. That's just objectively the bigger match of the two is Bianca and Jade. No whammy, that's right. No whammy, no whammy, no whammy. Andre the Giant and Haku, the Colossal Connection, former tag team champions. This was Andre at the end of his run here. This version of Andre could barely move, so a lot of the work here is going to have to be done by Haku. But they will be facing off with the Quebecers. Jacques Rougeau, and look, it's PCO, everybody. A young PCO. How are we feeling about this? Andre at the end of his rope and Haku against the Quebecers. Because I'm thinking Buzz is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Buzz. I will guarantee you one thing. There will be a spot during the course of that match where Andre gets tied up in the ropes. I'm pretty confident about that. All right, we got Chelsea Green. Wait, hold on. I got to get my Chelsea Green voice.
Chelsea Green! Oh my goodness.
Chelsea Green is with us. I like Chelsea. You can put her in any situation. You can put her in any role. And she'll just grab it and just try to make something out of it no matter how shitty it is. Chelsea Green is going to go one-on-one with Mickie James. You like that? You like my Chelsea Green?
Chelsea Green!
All right, well, we had a pretty good match here. How did you know? It's a Solomonster at the age of 12. That's right. Balls didn't drop until I hit 13. Then it all changed. All right, we got a main event left here. You got one match left to go. Solomonster Irvin, better than Samantha. That's right. I'm going to take her job. All right, here we go. Didn't she face Penta once? Yes, in Lucha Underground. Papa Shango. Oh my God, we were just talking about the shoulder demon. We have an actual shoulder demon here. Papa Shango is in the main event. Here of Be the Booker. Liv Morgan gives you her room key. Now pick a stipulation. It's kind of funny that we have the shoulder demon and then we land on Liv Morgan here, who's had her fair share of shoulder issues. We are apparently going to have to pick a stipulation here for this Papa Shango match. We still don't know who his opponent is going to be. We have to pick a stipulation. So here we go. And you know, it's only fair since I had the Chelsea Green voice that we have to have one for Papa Shango.
Papa Shango.
All right, here we go. Stipulation. Last man standing. Papa Shango in a last man standing match. And now we get to find out who the opponent is going to be. Against Jay Briscoe. Yeah, it's kind of eerie because I literally just opened the sound off yesterday talking about this being the anniversary of Jay Briscoe's death. This past weekend. That's very eerie. But yeah, 3 years ago. If you can believe it. It's already been 3 years. Doesn't feel like it, but it has been. And there you go. That's Be the Booker. Although, again, we actually have... We're 13 out of 15 on that goal. So we get 2 more $10 or above Super Chats, and you might just get a bonus round. Depends how quickly I go through these remaining messages here. We have Linkmaster Raja Jackson with Travis Scott as his manager. Mega heels. Yeah, whatever happened to Raja Jackson? The man almost beat somebody to death in August. It is now January, and he's still walking around. Justice. That's great. Justice. Duff's Vid says, why shouldn't you play poker with a plumber? Because a good flush beats a full house every time. Actually, for that one, you said flushed. I had to give you a flush. I had to give you a flush. Actually, that's kind of what I'm dealing with right now. Actually, I have a toilet here that will not stop flushing. I have no use of the toilet in my own apartment. Thankfully, there's a half bath. So it's not like I'm shitting in a bucket here. But yeah, that's the issue I've been dealing with for the last 48 hours. I have a tankless toilet where the diaphragm was replaced 2 weeks ago by a plumber because of a leak, a minor leak. That's been fixed. And then all of a sudden the other day I flushed the toilet and it doesn't stop. It's just going and going and going and going and going, and it will not stop. And I go, what the fuck am I supposed to do? So I turn the water off. I know how to do that. And I'm waiting for this plumber to return. And I have no idea. And I try to put the water back on, and the flushing just continues. I'm like, I don't know. I don't want to void the warranty by touching anything else in case they can fix it. But I hope I get that fixed very soon. Because that's kind of annoying. That's kind of annoying. Where's TL Hopper when you need him? You can bring him over. That's what you get for flushing some of my jokes in 2025, the flush demon. Oh, man. It's always something. I swear, it's always something. It's always something. All right, well, thank you guys for hanging out with me here on a Monday night, a little bit earlier than usual. And again, I know there's a big college championship football game on tonight as well. But we'll be back to normal next week. Actually, we'll be back to normal on Friday as well for SmackDown, because SmackDown is in Canada, but it's back to its normal time. So all the streams this week should be, from here on out, normal until we get to the Rumble. And when we get to the Rumble, they're in Saudi. So that's going to be a 2 p.m. Eastern start time for the Rumble on the 31st. And I'll let you know when we get closer. I'm not going to go live immediately after the Rumble, but, probably that night, I don't know. Probably about the same time, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, we'll probably go live. But otherwise, everything is settling in and getting back to normal. So, Paul Javon is not hurt. It was an injury scare. He is okay. Let us hope it remains that way. You need a new rubber valve in the tank. There is no tank. It's a tankless toilet. It goes right into the wall. It is a Gerber toilet with a Delaney diaphragm. See, I've gotten some knowledge over the last couple weeks. But yes, it's like something got stuck. And so the flushing component won't stop. It just won't stop. And I assume it has to do with that diaphragm piece on top, but I'm waiting for them to come back because they're the ones who installed it. And I don't want to void the warranty and then get billed for something that we shouldn't be billed for. So, but any knowledge is welcome from any of our plumbing experts here, because it's been quite an ordeal over the last 48 hours. The shoulder demon lurks behind the shadows, waiting to strike another poor soul. I'm sure he will. I just hope he gives it a rest for a while. I think we've had enough. Hey, Sidro, have a good night. Next time I'm live with you here on the channel will be Wednesday. That'll be for the AEW Dynamite post show. Tomorrow, of course, is a new episode of Tuesday Night Titans over on JD's channel. And then back here again on Friday night for SmackDown. And then Saturday night for Saturday night's main event. And then you get a brand new podcast, episode 948 next Sunday. Lot of shit. Then we go into Rumble week. So it's going to be an exciting time around here. I'm going to get out of here. I'll let you guys go. Be well. Stay safe. Have yourselves a great rest of your Monday night. And for those of you who have been waiting, tomorrow, everybody gets access to it. Keep your eyes out here on the channel. 90,000 subscribers strong. We got that brand new RSPW Rewind. If you haven't seen it yet, you'll get to see it tomorrow. I hope you guys enjoy it. Until then, take care, guys.